What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Pistons Daily, a daily podcast with all your Detroit Pistons content. I'm your host, Tony Nash, and I am coming to you from the heart of Pistons country right here in mid-Michigan. And we've got a lot to talk about today. I wanted to start by just giving you a little bit about myself. I am, as I said, Tony Nash. I am a lifelong Pistons fan. I started watching the Pistons back in the Bad Boys era, and it really became the reason I fell in love with basketball. I was a big baseball guy, and those Bad Boys just did something and made me fall in love with the game of basketball, and I became all about it. Played in high school, played a little bit after high school, and then for the last 10 years, I've been a varsity basketball coach here in Michigan, won a couple of state championships, been to 4. And I just love the game of basketball. I'm a student of the game, but I love nothing more than our favorite team in the NBA, the Detroit Pistons. And what a season we are having so far. We are off to an incredible start. And it's been a lot of fun. Man, I tell you, each night we go watch the games just to see who's going to step up tonight, who's going to be the new guy that's going to make a name for himself and be that next man up and fill in that next spot. And, man, this team is exciting. And, you know, I really think that we got something special here. And pardon my mic here for a second, but we got something special with this squad. And they're doing some big things, and I think they're legit. This is not a flash in the pan. I think, you know, we're going to go through points in this season where we have lulls, and if we can, you know, injuries are always a risk, and there's going to be things that we have up and downs. But I think this is a legit team. We are a real contender, especially in the East. It's wide open right now. And so there is so much to be excited about if you're a Pistons fan, and it's the first time in a long time we've had much to be excited about here. And so I want to talk a little bit today first about the Dawg Pound, the Jalen, Duren, and Isaiah Stewart combo. We've got to see them start together a couple of times this season, and I got to tell you, I like what I'm seeing. Those two on the court together are formidable, and maybe Isaiah Stewart is the stretch 4 we've been looking for. I know in the offseason we talked a lot about how Detroit needs to add a stretch 4, and Isaiah Stewart is shooting from long distance at a good clip and pretty consistently and becoming a threat, and it's pulling, you know, some defense out there and opening up the paint. And, you know, we love Tobias. He's that veteran leader that we've been wanting, and he's been hurt, and that's why we've got to see this duo. And so should Tobias start when he comes back, or maybe should he come off the bench? And, you know, he's one of the few shot creators we have, the few guys that can create their own offense. And so maybe Tobias Harris leading that second unit could be a good thing for our team. Obviously, a lot of other guys are stepping up right now. But, man, I don't know. I love seeing Duren and Stewart out there together, as they call themselves, the Dawg Pound. Statistically, they are a plus 25 when they're on the court together. Teams in the NBA the average team averages 31.5% shots at the rim. And when those guys are on the court, that goes down to 15.3%. So people are avoiding the paint when you got those two guys in there. And so just defensively, incredible. And then the average NBA team's shooting percentage at the rim is 67.2%. And when Duren and Stewart are in the game together, that goes down to 45.8%. So that's a compelling statistic that tells me those two need to be on the court a significant amount of time together. Whether or not they start, I'm not sure. I'll leave JB up to the lineups. He seems to be doing a good job with the lineups right now. But man, I think Stewart as that stretch 4 could be the answer to our long-term success. Obviously, he's young, and so a lot of time to improve there. So those two together, they score the most together when they're on the court as a big man duo, and they allow the least amount of points in the NBA when they're on the court together. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you think Isaiah Stewart should be a starter? Do you think he's kind of earning that role? Do you like him better coming off the bench? Obviously, he's going to show up regardless of what the coach asks him to do. What I love about Beef Stew is he's always ready. He doesn't seem to complain when he doesn't start or when he comes off the bench. He's always a gamer, always ready to come in. And, man, what a difference he would have made last year in that New York Knicks series. We talk about Ivy being out a lot and what a difference he would have made, but imagine having Stewart in there to guard Karl Anthony Towns out around the perimeter, which was pulling JD out, which opened up the middle a lot. Our rim protection was tough, which gave Jalen Brunson a lot of opportunity to go in and flop around and get some buckets and get to the rim or get to the free throw line. So what a difference he would make. And I think those two in the game together are going to make it really tough on a lot of teams. It's going to force a lot of outside shooting, which obviously are lower percentage. One of the downsides of all this, though, and even the entire team, the hustle, the grit, the defense we're playing, we right now allow the highest opponent free throws per game. So we're committing a lot of fouls. But if you've been following the Pistons for long, this is kind of our blueprint. The bad boys committed a lot of fouls. The 04 Pistons committed a lot of fouls. And so when you're playing hard-nosed, tough, aggressive, physical defense, you're going to get a lot of fouls. So that's kind of like comes with the territory. So it doesn't bother me too much. I certainly would like to see us stop committing some of the stupid fouls. Like our boy Ron Holland seems to sometimes just commit dumb fouls, and some of the other guys as well. But we're going to, listen, fans, let's just be honest. We're going to see a lot of fouls this year. So we just need to get used to it. It's going to happen. But again, that's kind of our Pistons blueprint as you look back at our successful teams and what they've been made of. And that's really been a part of it. But, man, our big man, Jalen Duren. I think Jalen Duren could be the best offensive center that we've ever had. And the question is JD going to be an all-star this year? What do you think? Does JD deserve to be an all-star? He is really becoming a dominant force. He's only 22 years old, just turned 22 this week. And so already proving himself to be a dominant force with his shooting percentage, his presence at the rim on defense. He just seems to me like one of those old school centers, right? You don't see a lot of old school big men like that, but just big, gritty. He's added some post moves to his bag, got that mid-range jumper, even got a little bit of handles, taking guys off the dribble from the top of the key. And so, man, I think he's proving himself to be an all-star, and I can prove it because right now in the East, the number one center in points per game is Karl Anthony Towns with 21.8. But right behind him is JD at 20.6. So he is in the East, he is the second in points per game, and then he's fourth in the league amongst centers as points per game. And so at 22 years old, that's something to be excited about. And then rebounds per game, again, leading in the East is Cat with 12.7, but right behind him, nipping at his heels, is JD with 11.9. And obviously battling a little bit of injury. He gets more games under his belt. I think the ceiling is very high. He's only going to continue to improve. So he's second in the East in rebounds and then fifth in the league amongst centers in rebounds. And actually fifth in the league total for rebounds, not just amongst centers. And so Cat is a perennial all-star, right? He's an all-star every year. And if JD is putting up Cat-like numbers and really being that dominant force, shooting like 68% from the field. And when he gets the ball down low, just look out. I mean, like he's going to score or he's going to get to the line. And he's shooting free throws at a very high percentage. And so I think JD is making a case to be an all-star this year. But what do you think? Do you think JD is there yet? Do you think he needs a little more time? Or do you think right now, 2025, he's proving himself to be an all-star? I think as centers go, he's second best statistically in the league. And I think if I had to pick, to start a franchise with JD or Cat, obviously Cat has the resume already, and he's been in the league longer, and he's a baller, but JD is young and has a very high ceiling, so I'd go with JD. So I'd like to see him be an all-star this year. Obviously, Cade is going to be an all-star again. To see two all-stars out there from Detroit, I think just in the minds of the pundits and the fans and the haters, it gives Detroit a little more credibility, a little more validity. But I think that JD, we might see him on that all-star squad this year. But I want to talk a little bit about the nasty boys, right? I don't know if you've been hearing this lately. It started the other night with JB, just said they're a bunch of nasty boys. And then Dennis kind of said it again in his press conference interview, saying the nasty boys were just a bunch of nasty boys. Actually, they were saying nasty dogs. They're just some nasty dogs. And then I heard Perk on ESPN, Kendrick Perkins, who cannot say Cade Cunningham to save his life. He says Cade Cunningham. So someone needs to tell Perk that he's not getting that right. But Cade's getting a lot of mentions in the national media. And he said, man, these boys are just some nasty boys. And I think this might take off. Every good team has to have an identity. Of course, we remember the iconic Bad Boys. People still talk about the Bad Boys. If you're from Michigan or you're a Pistons fan, you love the Bad Boys, but you love to hate them if you're not from this area. But what an iconic team. What an iconic moniker, the merch, the headlines. And, they were called a bunch of bad boys because of how physical they played, and they just embraced it, and they made it something. And, of course, back-to-back world champions. And then in 2004, you had the going-to-work Pistons. That was kind of our moniker. These guys go to work. They play hard every night. Some call them Bad Boys 2.0. And we've even heard some people call this squad the new Bad Boys. But I think it might be cool if they have their own little thing. The Nasty Boys is cool to me. I can picture the merch. I can picture the logo. I'm not big on nasty dogs. Maybe that's just me, but I love Nasty Boys. I think that's a cool nickname. But I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Is this a cool nickname for the Pistons to have? Do you like that idea of them being called the Nasty Boys? Does that kind of fit their identity? I think it's cool. I think it could stick. I think it's something people will talk about, and it gives them that identity. That's something to live up to, something to play for. Like if you're going to come play for the Pistons, you're going to be one of these nasty boys. Like you're going to play hard. You're going to play with grit. You're not going to complain about your minutes. You're not going to complain about your touches. Like you're here to win, and you're here to do all the things, the intangibles that it takes to be a championship contender. And so what do we think? Do we like the Nasty Boys? Is that a good moniker for our team? Love to hear from you. And then speaking of being a Detroit Piston, I saw that Pistons Talk or Pistons Nation, it's an online creator, proposed a mock trade of Kawhi Leonard to the Detroit Pistons. And so what do you think about this? I think this is absolutely insane. The thought of this. So here's their post. They say, hear me out. Kawhi is not what he used to be. Injury prone. Availability is always a concern. But if he's healthy for the 2026 playoffs, his leadership and his two-way impact could change Detroit's entire ceiling. I disagree. When he's played this year, he's still elite, 24 points a game, 50% from the field, 5 rebounds, 2.5 steals per game. He's already hit a game winner this year. So here's the proposed trade. And I want to hear from you, but I think this is absolutely ridiculous. The Pistons get Kawhi Leonard. That's it. And then the Clippers would get Tobias, Jaden Ivey, I'm out already right there, Marcus Sasser, Isaac Jones, a 2027 second-round pick, 2026 second-round pick, and a 2028 second-round pick. And so they're saying the Pistons really aren't giving that much to get Kawhi. This is something that the Clippers would entertain, and I think this is absolutely ridiculous. Number one, I don't think the Pistons need to be talking about trades right now at all. I think the jury is still out on what this team can do. I think the ceiling is very high. I said in yesterday's episode, we've already had 10 guys this year who have had 20-plus point games. And so the depth of this team, I think our biggest concern is our depth. Like, how are we going to get minutes to all these guys who just want to eat? These guys all want to come out and perform, and we got guys that are really doing it. Dennis Jenkins is making a strong case for himself. B-Ball Paul is just ready, coming in, doing some big things. Huge improvement from last year. Obviously, we got Ron Paul. We got Sasser coming back. We got Javonte Green coming off the bench. I'm assuming when Ivy comes back that Duncan Robinson will be coming off the bench. You have Careless Levert, as I call him, who's going to need minutes. And so, man, we got a squad here. And so the idea of trading, especially for a big-name player that's going to cost us a lot, I think is just absolutely the wrong thing to be talking about. I think perhaps when we get closer to the trade deadline, maybe bringing in the right veteran, a shooter, not giving up any of our young guys for it, but maybe some pieces that maybe just aren't fitting. My opinion, Karras is not quite fitting with the squad right now. Great player. I'm a big Michigan man, so I love to see Michigan guys on the Pistons, but he just doesn't seem to fit with our team. And so maybe we talk about bringing in, like a Dennis Schroeder type like we did last year, who gave us a nice veteran presence on the team. But in terms of talking about trades right now, I think I hope that these are all just online rumors. I hope that our front office is not seriously considering any of these things because to me, we got something special here. And I think the jury is out on what this team could be, and the ceiling is so high. This could be, if we can keep our young core together, this could be a dynastic team that really wins for a lot of years and give us fans something to continue to cheer about. So what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. What do you think about the Dawg Pound? Should Isaiah Stewart breach that starting lineup? Should he be up there with JD, bringing that presence? Is JD an all-star this year? Do you think that he has made a case that he should be considered as an NBA all-star? And then what do you think about Nasty Boys, that nickname, that moniker? Is it cool? Does it fit us? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Maybe it's Nasty Dogs you like, or if you got another name, let us know in the comments. I love to read what you guys might have to say about that. And then Kawhi to Detroit. Does anyone like that idea? Is there anyone out there that's like, this works, this fits? If so, tell me why you think it's a good trade. See if you can convince me that that's not the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But, yeah, let us know. If you like our content, make sure you subscribe. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. We're getting close, so make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you're notified every single day when we bring you new content and you get it first. And as always, thanks for watching. Let's go Pistons. Let's keep it up. We got the Bucks Friday night. It looks like Giannis might be out. Can we get win number 12 in a row? Let's go. Thanks for joining us. And as always, Detroit basketball. Let's go. We'll see you guys next time.